Hi, William Hoyne here for a new video game discussion video. Today I want to talk about why I'm playing older games in 2024. And when I say older games, I'm not talking about retro games from the 90s. I'm talking about games just a couple years old, we'll say. Games from, even 2020 would be fine. But of course I'm playing some older games too. But all that said, if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll certainly see that I'm not playing the newest games all the time. I have a few new games that I've been covering, but most of the games are always from a few years ago, and I want to say why. So the first reason is that more often than not, games are broken on day one. We had some recent example like Fallout 76 or Cyberpunk 2077. Those are the first two that comes to mind in terms of massive issues. But even when it's not massive, most games nowadays benefit from a few months of updates and patches and balancing and all of that thing. And I feel that if you come to a game a year after it was released, you'll pretty much get the game in the best state it's ever gonna be. So very rarely do I play games on day one. It's incredibly rare. Because I've been too disappointed. Even games that I've championed, like Dismantle. I love this game. It's an indie game, open world-ish survival, but without survival aspects. But anyway, at some point, 10 Tons, the dev, they released an update, a DLC, that you could buy, and that was opening up a whole new place to explore, and I was all hyped up, bought it as soon as it released, and then for the first week it was crashing. I couldn't play it. As soon as I was activating some kind of tower, the game would crash because it would try to load a cutscene and it just would not work. Of course, now it's all fine. The week after it was fine and I was able to play it, but should have been better to just wait for a few months and buy all the DLC in one go and just play them without issues. So this is my first reason that games are too often broken when they release. And even when they do work, they always get some patches and updates that will make them better. You come a few years after the fact and you'll have the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC, all the patches, all the things, all in one package at a discounted price. And this is my second reason. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to be a patient gamer. So the game releases, it's $80, everybody wants to play it, try it out, and then there's the negative reviews because of performances issues. And then a year later, you get the special edition with everything, and then boom, you get it for $40 on sale with everything, and it works perfectly, and it makes me happy. So I think one of the reasons is that it's cheaper, unless you go into real retro stuff. If you want to get into Etrian Odyssey right now, which is a fantastic dungeon crawler game on the Nintendo DS, it's gonna cost you, close to $100 to buy the game. And I bought it on release back in the day for like $40. So if you go too much retro, this thing won't work. But I'm talking a few years, if you wait a year or two, you'll get some fantastic deals. I'm sure the people that are getting into Skyrim right now can get in for a very, very cheap price. So anyway, that was my second reason. It's cheaper. And speaking of money, older games are often less monetized. Now, this is my third reason. I know it doesn't work with everything. If you go into live service game, more often than not, the games will get more and more monetized as it's getting close to being shut down, because they want to go and try and get everything they can before it happens. But I mean, generally, I feel older games are less monetized. You go back, if you play PS2 games, it won't be monetized at all, because it was not a thing. You could not buy cosmetic back then, or at least I don't think so. Maybe there's somebody in the comments will bring me some kind of exception, but I remember playing a bunch of PlayStation 2 games and it was not an option for me to give the developer more money after buying the game. And it still applies to many less old game, more recent games. At some point, man, I can't remember. I bought a game not too long ago, and it came with all the DLC. I wonder if it's not like a Dynasty Warriors game. And the first version of the game, you could buy a bunch of costumes and a bunch of extra stages, but then they released a version that everything's in it, and you just pay it once and you get everything, and there's no more monetization attached to it. So I think it's Dynasty Warriors, but I can't be sure. But yeah, my third reason is that it's often less monetized. And then the fourth reason, I feel I'm running in circle here because I feel I've talked too much about the first things. Anyway, another convoluted talk for you. But you get a finished product. This is my fourth reason to play older games, is that, okay, after a few years, all the patches, all the DLC, all the balancing, it's all there. The game is finished. It won't change anymore. The only updates you're gonna get sometimes is to make them run on the newer, software for your systems, just to, crush a critical bug or something, but the game is finished. So there's a bunch of games that I like to play a lot, and I will play the game again and again, and I hate it when you come back to the game, there was an update and the trick you were doing doesn't work anymore because they changed the way that the weapons work or something. And so I like knowing that the games I'm playing are finished. This is the game won't change. What you learn will always be a valid option in the game. It always stresses me out to, it doesn't prevent me to sleep, but it's always, I hope they won't mess this up. Oh, this move this combo is super cool. Man, I sure hope they won't nerf it. And when you play older games, of course they won't nerf it because they're not working on the game anymore. The game is completely finished. It's in its final state. You know what I mean. And they won't touch it again. So this is my fourth reason, to have a finished product. So my last reason of why I play older games is, and then this really applies to older games, it's not about engagement, which I called wasting player times. Nowadays, even in single player game, they want engagement. They want to get some data that they can tell in their meetings. Look, people are playing our games for XYZ amount of time. It's fantastic. And I feel nowadays there's a very big importance that is put in how long players are playing the game, how long are they engaged with it. And I vastly prefer short games that I can replay again and again, because the game is just fun. A game can be engaging without, you know, shoveling you a bunch of fetch quest or useless mechanics that only takes time. And there's a bunch of that in recent games, even games that I've quite enjoyed. And I can see it. I can see it's just to pad the gameplay time, because they don't want you to finish the game in 15 hours. They have to go at least 20 for a single player games, and so they make it longer. They make you walk a long corridor with a conversation with themselves where you cannot run. You know, at some point it's gonna lock you into walking mode, and you have to walk and hear the exposition of the story. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Stellar Blade. I love Stellar Blade. Fantastic game. It's probably gonna be my game of the year, but man, there's a few of those moments where you can see it. You can see, okay, they needed the game to attain a certain run time, and this is why it's there. Some could say, oh, well, it's for immersion and stuff like that, and fine. But at the end of the day, when you replay the game and replay it, at least give me the option to skip it, which is not there, because it would make player play the game for less time. So when you go into older games, arcadey type games, well, you don't have this. It's all about scoring, it's all about speed running, it's all about pushing the buttons and, you know, getting that dopamine. So yeah, my last reason is I feel older games are wasting my time less. Now, I mean, there's some JRPGs where animations of attack last for like 15-20 seconds, and this is definitely wasting my time. I like the newer... I'm playing Trails of Cold Steel 3 right now, and I definitely enjoy the you know, you can skip the long animation of special move, and you can put the game on fast, on like fast mode, and so everything moves faster, and I quite like that. So Trails of Cold Steel 3, good job. You're definitely not wasting my time, although for now I feel it's a bit kind of boring, and I love the Trails game, but never been a big fan of Cold Steel, even 1 and 2. But I want to play 3 and 4 because I want to play Trails into Reverie. But anyway, I've rambled long enough. It was, I feel, convoluted more than it should have been. So hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you enjoy being a patient gamer. There's even a subreddit for being a patient gamer, which I have, of course, a member of. But anyway, it's enough. Go do something else. Go play games. Bye bye.